Hey folks, welcome back to our session on Clear My Paper on matrices and determinants. Hope you guys enjoyed the few videos that I put so far for the MSBTE paper code 22103. So this is a continuation video on another topic, interesting one, transpose of a matrix. This will be a short video, but this will be interesting. So unlike the previous videos where I've always told you that matrices and determinants can be seen in kind of two lens, right? One is the algebraic lens and one is the geometric intuition. The geometric intuition is where all the juice is, the interesting part. Folks who would like to really understand what's going on and get a little bit of perspective, for them it's great. For people who do not want to waste time and they are shortchanged on the schedule, they don't have much time for preparation and they don't want to go through that videos, they can quickly skip this video and go to the algebraic definition and still they'll be able to make it. So I leave it to you. But in this case, I would like to flip it. In the previous videos, what I did is I put the algebraic definition first and then showed you the geometric intuition. In this case, I'm going to flip it. I'm going to show you the geometric intuition of what a transpose is, and then I'm going to prepare a separate short video on the algebraic intuition. Okay. All right. So let's jump straight into that. Okay. So what I've done is I borrowed this concept from one of the websites, and I'll also share this website as a part of this video. Beautifully done, simple graphics, but I've redrawn and extracted the juice, which is just relevant for our syllabus and our purpose. So assume that I have an input matrix over here, okay, in the center. Okay, I have an input matrix, the matrix is given by two vectors. So we can always plot this as matrix, which I'll show you. But let's say on this input there are two vectors, vector A and vector B. Vector A is in the direction of x-axis and vector B is in the direction of y-axis, and the coordinates are simple. It's a unit matrix or unit vector, you can say, which is the 1 0 for vector A and 0 1 for vector B. Pretty simple. Okay, and let's say I need to apply two sorts of transformations, which I have shown on the left over here and which I have shown on the right over here. Okay. So let's take the left transformation. So I'm going to do some transformation on this system, on this coordinates, on these two vectors. And when I say transformation, that means basically I'm going to represent this vectors as a matrix. I'm going to apply some transformation on the left, and I'm going to convert the output somewhat to this, what you're seeing on the left. This is the output ones, right? So basically how can I move from here to here? How can I move these two vectors from here to here in this fashion? Okay, and what do you see there, right? This in the first transform, what do you see there? If you see our vectors, if you follow the vector coordinates 0 to A, or point O to A and point O to B, right? O to A has become this way in the negative y direction, and O to B has been in the positive direction. So if you see, we have kind of switched it 90 degrees. We have turned this 90 degrees, right? So if I push this down and bring this down and turn it at 90 degrees, that's the direction I get. But interestingly enough, if you see the coordinates, that also has changed from 1 here on both the vectors or both the input points. The coordinates have become 2. So the net effect of this, you can imagine that not only I have rotated or moved this vector in by 90 degrees clockwise, I've also scaled it by a factor of 2. So you can, if you remember the previous videos, I'm applying two sorts of transformation. I'm applying a rotation first. This is a rotation, and then after that I'm applying the rotation on the input here, and after that on the net resultant I'm applying a scalar matrix, right? That's what I'm trying to do in effect. Okay, so that's what this shows, right? A rotation by a clockwise rotation by 90 degrees and a scaling by a factor of 2. So this matrix can be transformed into this matrix. Similarly, on this second transformation over here, it has the exact effect but in the opposite direction. Instead of a 90 degree clockwise rotation, I'm moving this kind of anti-clockwise. If you see, my point A has gone on the negative on the y-axis. I'm moving it like this, and B has gone here, right? That's what it shows. So I'm having the exact and opposite effect in terms of the scaling and opposite effect in terms of the direction. So instead of clockwise, I'm rotating this anti-clockwise, and this is clockwise, right? And then scaling by 2, a factor of 2. So these are the two sets of transformation which can be applied on the same input set of vectors or input matrix in our case, and which can give you the effect of, clockwise rotation followed by scaling and anti-clockwise rotation followed by scaling. So how do you get that? How do you get in terms of matrix multiplication? Because we are used to this concept of matrices and all those things, right? So over here, if you see, I've just put it, right? So basically I'm having my input matrix here, which is the one that is in the center. If you see the point A is 1, 0 and point B is 0, 1. So let's say this is my point A and this is my point B, 1, 0 and 0, 1, right? I'm putting in terms of a column vector. This will be the x coordinate. The first one is the x coordinate for A, and there's the y coordinate, and there's the x coordinate for B and the y coordinate. So I'm putting it this way, okay? You have to see it in a column fashion, okay? For A and B, I've just transformed this. So if I'm going to represent these two vectors, vector A and vector B, or this kind of two-dimensional object into form of matrix, this is how it will look like. And I also know the output that's going to come from here, which is kind of a post-transformational effect. And all I have to do is in the output, I have to see in the input, I'm putting the A coordinates first. So in the output also, I need to put the A coordinates first, which is this coordinate. If you see here, the coordinate is 0 and -2, the x coordinate and the y coordinate over here, x and y. And then I also have to put the coordinates for B, again the x and y, which is kind of a 2, 0, right? So this is the output. And same way over here also, right? If you see, same way over here, this is the same input matrix that I'm taking here. It's the same thing. This is A and this is B. And again, this is the output, this is the A and B. But the coordinates are different because the coordinates of A have become, because it's going in the y-axis, it has become 0 and 2. And B has the coordinates of -2 and 0. And that's what I've represented here by a column matrix, okay? So my question is, or our understanding is, what should be the matrix, the transformation matrix, right? What's the magic that I need to do? What kind of matrix I need to use on the left so that I can multiply it on the matrix on the right, so that the left has a transformational effect on the input matrix to give a output matrix, in this case clockwise rotation by 90 degree and a scaling by factor 2. And in this case, it should give the transformational matrix, whatever is the unknown right now, which we'll come to in a minute, should have the transformational effect post multiplication on the input matrix, and the net resultant should have a transformational effect of anti-clockwise rotation by 90 degrees and scaling of vectors by a factor of 2, kind of. So what does it do? So if you scroll down and see that, right, the transformation vector is nothing but this way. Transformation matrix 1, which is here. If I use this matrix and multiply with this matrix, I'll get the output that I see here. And if I see the transformational matrix 2 and apply it on the matrix B, or multiply it or have used this matrix to transform B, I'll get this output, which is kind of here, right? That's what I see. And for sake of simplicity, I've even multiplied it and showed to you. I've taken the transformation vector over here, and I've taken the input vector, and I've shown you that output vector comes to that point over here. And the net output is the same. Once you apply this multiplication or transformation, that over here, you will see the output matrix is clockwise rotation by 90 degree and scaled by 2, because you can see the coordinates of here, right? And the same way over here also, you can see the anti-clockwise rotation and scaled by 2 over here. This is the new A and this is the new B. This is the new A and this is the new B, right? Same over here, A new and B new. So that's what I have. Okay, so far, so what's the big deal? I mean, it's pretty simple, because in a way, if you see, this matrix is nothing but a square matrix or a diagonal matrix where the diagonal elements are 1. So anything I multiply by that, it's going to be the same, because if you see this, the transformational matrix and the output matrix, they are the same, right? If you see, this is same as this, because I'm multiplying by a unit matrix which is as good as multiplying it by number 1. So what's the big deal? Where are we going with this, right? And that's the beauty of the transpose, which I'll come to in a minute, right? If you see this transformational matrix Tm1 and Tm2, which I'm writing it here, you will see what is the difference, right? There's no difference here except for an interchange of rows and columns here. Interchange of rows and columns, okay? That's what it is, right? Let me just make it big and bold so that you can see it, right? Okay. This is what I've done here, right? So the difference between this transformation matrix 1 and 2 is nothing but the rows over here have become columns over here, right? And there's a row 1 has become column 1 here, and the row 2 has become column 2. That's all it is, right? So whenever I interchange the rows and columns of a matrix, that is called as a transpose of a matrix, which is also denoted by the matrix in capital with a kind of a power. It's not a power, but it's T written on the top, or you can write it like this also, A and kind of a prime. Both this means that you are talking about a transpose of a matrix A, right? Both are the same thing. But what in basic essence it means is I'm just interchanging the rows and columns, which is kind of a segue to the algebraic definition, but that's boring. But let me pause here and give you an intuition of why this is beautiful, right? So if you see this here, I'm using a website here, intuitive.math, and they've explained it. I don't know who has done this. They've done a great job. And you can, if you want, you can read it for extra reading. But this is what I would like to do. I just show you a couple of minutes, right? For example, if you see here in this video, you have this matrix here on this one, where we are talking about